Hi, this is Sally Wood for Be Inspired, and today I'm going to be fixing this little cover. It's not a major job, it's just a running repair, and really shouldn't take very much time at all. So let's get on with it. I'm actually going to pull all of this off because there's a big patch missing here, which is at the front of the chair. I don't usually do it this way, but I think that needs to be replaced too. Flip it over and do the other side. And obviously the other side is the side that they use a lot. They haven't bothered turning this one over because this is still quite in place. I'll just clear that off a little bit more and I'm going to replace it. And I'm actually going to glue it on. I'm not going to sew it on. I only charged for putting the zip in. I didn't charge for all of this as well. So I would say you get what you pay for, but you just got to be careful when you're doing things for people that you don't lose too much money on the stuff that you're doing. Just spray liberally. Put as much on as you can and pull that to the back. Tip it over. I'm going to spray along the front where it was before, and then liberally on the other side. I'm going to pull it firmly across the front and then to the back. Now I'm going to cut the excess off at the back here. I'm going to leave this to set up. Okay, now onto the cover itself. The zip has come undone here. Some sewing that needs to be done there. And then on this side of the zip, because it's only the zip that's got anything wrong with it, that needs to come in. And I'm not sure if I can do very much about that. And the same here. This is just that compressed suede. And it always looks really nice on stuff, but in general it just doesn't last very well. I'm going to just investigate the rest of it, make sure that nothing else needs doing. So it's just really the zip end, and that goes all the way down there. The first thing I'm going to do is just unpick on this side a little bit where the zip is. This is actually quite a quick fix and happens very often, especially when people don't know how to put their cushions back into the covers. But when the lady gets here, I'll tell her. So this will come out very shortly. As I come along here, this has got caught underneath at some point, so it's always worth having a look along the teeth and seeing what's going on. And there has been damage. There's an opening there, so I actually need to replace the whole zip. I don't know whether that's happened there as well. No. Having opened the zip up like this, put a pin on each side like this so that it won't carry on undoing. The last thing you want to have to do is take it out of here just to get one seam in. It gets a bit irritating when that happens, so I've got a pin on each side to help support that, and it can't go too much further. I'm just cutting this little piece out here, and I'm going to cut along like that, and I'm hoping that that is going to be just big enough to go in here, and I'll pop that down there, I think. So this is going to be an interesting way of fixing this problem, and it needs to be fixed, otherwise it's going to just pull apart and cause the lady more problems later. So here's the tear. I've got to just have it as smooth as possible. I'm going to just fold this over, giving me a bit of a hem at the top, but lining it at the bottom like that. And just make sure that both sides are well and truly covered, and then pin it into place along the top like that. And then on the side also fold over, and this has a tiny hem because I wasn't able to get very much fabric, so my tiny hem on that side, fold that into place and pin that into place also. And then on this side, fold that over, make sure that you're covering everything, also fold that into place. And you might need to readjust everything. With this side I'm going to go up. Now, having got that far, I'm going to put it under the sewing machine and sew it, and as I get to these corners I'll pop them in so they look nice and neat. Realign the bottom of your seam so that hopefully you've got a straight line. Pop that underneath the foot of the sewing machine and fold that under in as straight a line as you can. And I'm going to be running this side of the hem here on the inside of this foot, so it's right on the outside edge, and sew as close as you can to the edge of your hem there. And I'm going to move this pin here, straighten my fabric up so that it's not being a bother, and carry on going a bit further. Now what I do is I check back to see how far up I need to go, and I really only need to go there, so the top's going to have a big turning on it. So what I'm going to do before I get there, fold that over, back. That's the top of the tear. So I'm going to nip just about 1/4 inch off the top. You want the repairs to be as small as possible. I'm also going to roll this fabric over like that to the top of the tear so that the torn fabric is inside the repair. And I'm going to sew to this corner. Now when I get to the corner, I'm actually going to turn my fabric all the way around like that. Make sure that that is parallel to the top and parallel to the bottom there. Pop the foot down and then fold that over and under, and that should actually cover that side. It's really difficult to show you, but that covers this side of that tear. This is still level. This is level with the top. That's far enough underneath that it should hold. It's all in line, all nice and tidy. I'm just going to go across to this corner here, and at the corner drop the needle, turn the fabric. Again, realign this. You need to realign each segment so that it covers the rest of the tear and it's still level with the bottom here. Put the foot down and then sew on down. Now I've noticed that my stitching didn't catch here for some reason, so I'm actually going to go from that end across and catch that down. Sometimes when you're going through thick fabric it misses stitches, and here you can see that all of that is inside the stitching, and that's what you want it to look like. The smaller the mend the better, and all I need to do is fold that over. This might cause the stitching to miss, but we'll find out in a minute. Now usually I sew a zip in from the bottom, but in this case I'm actually going to sew it in from the top because I want to know where those stitches are. So I'm going to lay that on here like that. It barely covers, but that's the way it was, and I'm going to just line that up and sew to the end. Fold it and pinch it in place and work to the next area, and try to keep it as even as you can. There's a little bit of a tear here. I'm just going to cut that back. As long as those threads can't get back into the zip, it'll be fine. So there we go. I think I've got just enough fabric to fill that one as well before that tears. So remove this and I'll see if I can patch that one too. So I've popped the patch on top and I'm sewing as close as I can to the outside edge like I did last time. Now as you come to the patched part, just fold it over like that and continue sewing it in straight. Might need a little bit of assistance to go over. It might rock up a little bit because it's twice as thick as it was, and then just carry on sewing to the end. This I don't have pinned in anymore because that's where I took the fabric from for the patches, but I'm just going to sew all the way to the end here. I'm actually going to pin the zip in. I never do that either. So I'm going to roll that along so the stitching matches, so that's to there, and I'm going to put a pin on this side just to hold it. I'll go that way for now, and then I'm going to just stretch it out and match it to the next part. Now this is because I really don't know at the other end where it should be. And I say should be because I've cut everything back. It's not where it is meant to be. They're just to hold it, and then that one I'm going to match here and then run on down to here. It is off, it's off quite a bit. So when I sew this one in, I've got to start it a little bit further in, and I'm going to pin that too. So here's my pin for this. I'm going to go sideways so it can't move. I'll take these ones out because I don't need them anymore. So I've undone the zip so that I can actually sew it. Otherwise, if it's joined together, makes life a lot more difficult. So I'll take that out, hold that in place and slide that underneath and start sewing. And this again is going to go all the way to the end. Now I'm going to put the slider on like that. I'm going to fold that fabric back and put the slider in here, and hopefully they'll hook onto each other, and then just push them both back until they catch, and there. Now this was started further down, so I'll go all the way across like this and see if I've got it in the right way at this end too, and make sure the corners are right up here. It actually looks like this was sewn this way because the corners are there and this is shorter than this. So okay, what I'm going to do is slide the slider off, go back to the start. I'll just put that back in the same way. Now this is the side that I had taken the fabric out of, so I'm going to just cut this up and across so I can get in there, otherwise I can't do anything at the moment. And I'm only interested in pulling that out so it's level. Pin it this side like that, pull it out so it's level, pinch it together and pin it in from this side too. Then I'm going to open that seam out like that and pop it under here. And here is, this is the fabric that was over there. I'm literally going to pop this on here. I'll move it up a little ways and I'm going to sew that into place. So the zip itself can't move. Having done that, it's open here and it's open there. So what I'm going to do from one side to the other, and I'm going to just stitch this all in place. So forward and reverse, and then all the way across. And when you get to the other end, you don't have to do forward and reverse, it's just advisable. Just 2 or 3 stitches. Although this is sewn in, I'm actually going to top stitch across as well, just across where the zip is. And then reverse. That will hold everything in place. Now for getting this back on. The easiest way is actually to put it inside out, like this. Pinch over the end, one end like that, and start it. Having started it, keep it pinched into place that end. Go to the other end, pinch this side in and push it up too. And then just ease it over the sides, one side. Pull it on by small increments. You can push the foam down like that, twist it, and then push the foam down like that and just ease it all the way to the back. And it takes a little while. And when you've got it in, push the foam down and into place and start bringing the zip around like that. Also smooth it from the front back, and sometimes you have to turn it over like that and do it the other way, but it should, with a bit of luck, all go in.